everybody. It's Russ Kenzior, and you're listening and watching the Safety Matters show. It's been a couple years since the show's been out there. A lot's changed. A lot's happened in the last couple years. The NFSI, which hosted the show, relocated its corporate headquarters, built a brand new studio, which we're in now. And the show is now a YouTube channel. You may not know that unless you're watching it on YouTube. We're going to have a new format as well. We're going to do a deep dive. The program's going to cover the behind the scenes of what's going on in the world of safety. We oftentimes hear about celebrities or individuals in the media that get hurt or oftentimes die. And while the media likes to cover what happened to who, we like to do a deep dive. And really talk about how did the event happen? How did that particular injury come to be? And joining me again for season 3 is my co-host, Tony B.
Good to be here, Russ. Glad to be back.
Good to see you, man. What's been going on the last for a couple of years?
Well, I'll tell you, the facility's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a new facility, completely new studio, new sound, new audio. So we put some money into this.
Yes.
But what's been going on with you personally?
Well, I became a grandpa this year.
Wow.
Yes, and I believe you're a 2-time grandpa.
Yeah. Well, one last year and one a year before that. But yeah, it's a 2-timer. I'm a 2-time grandpa.
2-timer.
Well, it's good to see you. And let's go ahead and dive right into our first story.
Do that.
Safety Matters in the news.
Going back to last January of 2022, actor and comedian Bob Saget died as a result of an apparent slip and fall. Everybody remembers Bob Saget. He actually died in his hotel room in Orlando, Florida.
Yes.
And the media reports weren't real clear at the time. They're still not real clear as to what actually happened. They claimed that he actually hit his head on the headboard of his hotel room, and that caused a brain bleed, and he died. We're going to talk a little bit about that because that story just doesn't seem
right.
Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
No,
but
it doesn't.
But Bob Saget is probably best known for Full House, which he was on that and back in the 90s, I want to say.
Yes. Big hit show. Yeah,
really big show, and a lot of people may remember that he was on America's Funniest Home Videos, and look what they used to make fun of.
All the slip, trips, and falls.
Man, fall into the swimming pool. I think this is one of the first, if not the first episode. Boom, fall into the ground. There's 2 guys. There he goes. You know what? It looks funny until you realize that these people probably got hurt. Maybe not severely, but I got to believe a lot of this has resulted in some serious injury.
This one looks like a real one.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing like a broken arm on your 12-year-old. You know, these people falling. This is the whole show. And of course, this is the pièce de résistance. Ha, ha, ha. Grandma broke her hip. And this guy probably pulled a
groin.
Yeah, pulled a groin. So that was kind of what Bob Saget made his name on the world of, the world of falls. Kind of ironic when you think about it. Bob Saget dies as a result of a fall, as he made a career of, in essence, making fun of people who fell. But there's also a bit of a conspiracy theory here, Tony. I don't know if you realize that they're claiming that Bob Saget actually did not just die from a head injury. He died with COVID, Tony. He died of COVID. And, the headboard in his room was rumored to be the cause of his injury.
Russ, that doesn't look like a very sharp or hard surface, does it?
Yeah, explain that to me. Again, this was the police and fire department. The initial reports were he struck his head on a padded headboard, which caused him a brain bleed.
It was his padded cell.
I mean, that just doesn't... But that was what the media covered. That was the news. The news was he struck his head on the headboard, and that did him in. And I tend to err on a little bit different form of causation. I'm going to go with the bathtub shower. I'm going to bet you, and this is actually the shower in his hotel room, the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. So TMZ reported, and these are photographs that were originally taken shortly after his death, that he took a shower. He used the towels to dry himself, threw them into the adjacent bathtub, and of course went into where the sink is. Now I'm gonna bet that this is probably where he slipped and fell, and he either hit his head on the floor or he hit his head on the sink. That's my bet. That's where I'm kind of going. Now, again, there's no witnesses. Nobody really knows for sure, but this would certainly make more sense that he struck his head on the floor or the sink area, went to bed thinking I'm okay, and unfortunately, it resulted in fatality.
Yeah, because it was a hard surface. You don't get that from banging it on a soft headboard.
But the media never asked those questions.
Nope.
They never did any investigation to say, well, wait a minute, the police department's saying one thing and that doesn't really make sense. Let's maybe at least report better information or more logical information. But they all kind of ran with this story of the headboard did them in, and I'm just not buying that.
No.
Maybe surprising to know that over 61,000 people,
my goodness,
seek a hospital room visit in his age.
In his age group, right.
That's just his age group.
Yes.
Okay, that is just in that 55 to 64 age group. 61,000 people go to the emergency room for that type of injury.
Wow.
And it just makes you wonder, where all those people wind up. How many of those people actually die? How many people have a major disability?
Well, how many do die?
How many do die? Well, thank you for asking. Odds of dying as a result of a bathroom slip and fall. In fact, falls in general. If you look at that third box to the right, Tony.
1 in 102.
1 out of 102. Look what's right next to it. 1 out of 103. Or 101, I'm sorry. Motor vehicle crashes.
Wow.
So the chances of dying, death, like Bob Saget did, or anybody that falls, is actually pretty close. Pretty good. It's your odds are against you, so to speak. In 2020, and this is the last year the statistics are available from the National Safety Council and the Centers for Disease Control. They track this. This is their data. Opioids, massive problem. Everybody in the country realizes that we have a opioid crisis. 1 out of 67 people. Tony, that's somebody you know.
Yeah.
Somebody you know.
1 out of 102.
But 1 out of 102.
Yes.
That really makes you wonder. But as I mentioned, autopsy reports said Bob Saget actually had COVID-19.
Of course.
COVID-19. So what really went into his death, we'll probably never know. And you certainly never know how it's going to be recorded. How are they going to record his death? Was it a slip and fall? It was a head injury. But,
right.
Remember, everybody under the federal guidelines that dies with COVID, that's listed as a form of causation on their death certificate.
My goodness.
I doubt that had a lot to do with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we also had another celebrity die last year, Ivana Trump.
Oh, yes.
Died at the age of 78 or 73. Not real certain what her age was. Multiple reports on that. And also died as a result of a fall. Of course, we remember her as Donald Trump's first wife.
Yes, first
wife.
wife.
Get confused there. He's had several. Very well-known aristocrat, lived in downtown New York. And she apparently fell down the staircase in her home.
Goodness.
Look at that, huh?
Oh, boy.
Talk about living in a palace.
Whoa.
Look at the size of this thing. Man. Wow. So this is the staircase. Allegedly, she fell down. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't they find her with coffee? What was it the deal?
Coffee cup.
Coffee cup.
Yeah, she had or Java or something.
Yeah, Java. So she was going down these carpeted stairs. And this is obviously quite a carpeting.
Probably didn't put her hand on the railing. And you know how it is when you have carpet like that where you don't know where the beginning and the end of the step is. It's a safety hazard. Yeah,
at her age,
right.
Let's be honest. Living in this palace.
Yes.
Look at the staircase.
My goodness.
She got 2 of them.
Which side do you take?
Yeah, which side do you take? And I'm not certain which side she fell on, but this is a hell of a staircase. Look at this carpeting, Tony. What does that say to you?
Accident.
Yeah. A lot of people may not know this, but you're in the contracting business. You're in the construction trades.
Absolutely.
So if you were to build a project like this for a bazillionaire, and this is not just carpeting, this is a custom-made rug
Put in an elevator.
I got to believe she had one. But when you look at this staircase, I mean, what does that tell you?
It's
high risk.
Yes, very high.
Look
risk.
at those nosings, the edges of the stairs.
Yeah, I know.
See how padded the steps are? Everything's real soft. So you hit that edge. You're not taking the right using the right judgment as you're coming down those stairs. Yeah. And by the way, I guess she did fall coming down, right?
I don't even see if there's not even any lights probably near that. So maybe depending on the time of day, who knows?
Well, she misstepped.
Yes.
She misstepped, fell down the stairs, and she did die. They found her at the bottom of the stairs.
Yes.
And she had died as a result of the fall. And so you're going to ask the logical question, how many people die as a result of a fall? Well, look at this, Tony.
Almost 500,000 people.
Hospital visits. Yeah, 500,000 people. Remember, it's the same odds, the 1 out of 102.
Wow.
But look at how many actually go to the hospital as a result of falling downstairs. And this is just in her age category. If you look to these columns, they're all broken down by age. So falls downstairs and steps for people at her age is a massive
My goodness.
problem. So that's an indicator. That's an indicator that if you're, as we age, we're all getting older, you really don't want those stairs.
One story.
I mean, staircases become
steps.
treacherous.
No changing in surface.
Yeah. Don't put carpeting on them.
Do not put carpeting on
Light them very well.
No polished marble.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought that's what it would have been, like polished marble on those steps. But
you know that carpet, you in your business, carpet's just as bad.
Yeah. Well, it presents a risk, a big risk. And, there's the risk right there. Approaching 500,000 people are going to seek emergency room visits. Again, many of these people die. Some of them just get injured. But did you know that the odds of death of falling down the stairs is
1 out of 102.
1 out of 102. So think about that. You probably will know somebody, whether it may have been your friend of your mom or your neighbor.
And these are facts. This is.
Yeah. I mean, that's how big the problem is. I mean, and as we
age. Absolutely.
One other interesting piece of information for you. Her home was previously owned by Paris Hilton. So one celebrity to the next. Of course, Paris Hilton, I doubt, had any serious injuries in the house, but certainly do now. But we lost those two last year. Lost 2 people. Famous celebrities. Lost quite a few more people. How many people do you think died last year as a result of a fall? How many people died as a result of a fall last year? Take a guess.
1,000.
Come on, Tony.
200.
How many people died in the entire country last year as a result of a fall?
1,000. 2,000.
Come on. Almost 40,000.
40,000?
Yeah,
40,000.
40,000. I'm laughing because I think most people would agree with you.
Goodness.
I think most people would think, it can't be that
You would
many.
think that this should be like on the front page of the news.
30. It used to be around 36 to 38. Last year, top 40,000. Maybe because the COVID thing, people being in their home more often.
Right.
Not out and about. So maybe. I'm speculating.
And it just goes to show how maybe design's got to change also for the elderly.
Well, it's just, you hit it on the head. It's a subject people just don't even talk about. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
6 million emergency room visits.
Well, the older I get, man, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't want to climb stairs.
Get rid of the stairs.
Yes.
Yeah, get rid of the stairs. That's the right approach. But earlier this year, just a couple weeks ago,
another
Ken Block,
sports legend.
Ken Block, DC Shoes co-founder and Action Sports.
Right.
55, died in a snowmobile accident.
Yeah, he's the DC sneaker guy.
DC, there they are.
Yeah.
Very, very famous.
Very famous.
Died doing apparently what he loved, and many people love doing, which is snowmobiling. It's an action sport. It's obviously high risk. There's a lot of excitement.
Yes.
With the sport. And what do you think the odds are of death as a result of a snowmobile?
You think it's 1 out of 100?
What do you think? Do you think it's more or less than falls?
Maybe more.
You think more people would die as a result of a snowmobile accident? than a fall.
Maybe a lot of ATVs out there.
Yeah, ATVs.
Or maybe a little less.
They don't include in the statistics motorcycles.
Oh, I gotcha.
So what do we think? Take a guess. Don't guess.
Thanks.
Yeah, don't guess. It's really down there. All right.
There you go.
It's pretty small. In fact, in his age group, it's about 18,280 people go to the emergency room for a snowmobile or off ATV injury.
Right.
Again, not everybody dies.
Right.
So it's a little bit lower risk, but again, as you age, look, Tony, if you and I, when we were young guys, you'd fall off of a motorcycle, you scraped yourself up, but you got up, went to work the next day. At our age today,
right.
If I fall off a motorcycle, it's even if it's not a big deal, or an ATV or a snowmobile.
Don't heal. It takes longer.
It's a lot more serious. It's not the same as if you were a young man, young woman. But we lost him as well.
Right.
That's another.
But there's all safety risk in all equipment. I mean, it's the nature.
And do what you love and love what you do. I mean, he presumably died doing what he loved. Not certain exactly what happened.
Right.
Whether it rolled over and crushed him. Gotcha. A lot of times with like skiing, skiers get head injuries.
Gotcha.
And if you're not wearing a helmet, again, there's no reports on this.
Right.
When you look at the media reports on his death, it was died as a result of a snowmobile accident.
Right.
But did he have a helmet?
Yeah.
Don't know.
How fast was he going?
Was there alcohol involved or drugs?
Yes. What time of day?
What time of day?
Did he have proper lighting on the
Right.
Who knows?
Was it a mechanical failure?
Yeah.
See, we can go on and on and on. Again, the media just loves to throw that story out, to cast a line and tell you a little bit, and you're more, I guess most people are just focused on the celebrity.
But they don't dig down.
They don't dig. They've been trained not to expect it.
Right.
So-and-so died. So-and-so got injured. What happened?
Right.
And they kind of forget about it.
Right.
Well, what happened and how it happened makes a big difference.
It does.
I mean, it really makes a big, especially if you're, in my field of prevention. If you're trying to prevent people from getting hurt, what actually happened does make a difference. Got another one, Jeremy Renner. In fact, he's still in the hospital.
Yes.
Hospitalized in critical but stable condition following a snow. This is an odd one. A snow plowing accident.
This is what gets me. When I think of snow plows, I mean, how did he get run over?
Let's go through it. When you think snow plow,
I think with the guy behind it, we used to back at home.
So when you think snow plow injury, you're thinking, hey, something like this here, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And up in the north where I'm from.
I mean,
Chicago,
if you got run over by that, you'd still get chopped up pretty good.
Yeah. So you're thinking snowplow.
Yeah,
injury.
snowplow. Sure.
Hand got stuck, a foot got stuck.
Sure.
How exactly do you get crushed?
I don't know.
By this. They reported that it was a heavy snow.
Wow.
3 feet of snow. Again, this is in Lake Tahoe. Lots of snow.
Sure.
They claimed it, January 1st. He was attempting to assist a family member.
Gotcha.
After their vehicle got stuck in
the snow.
Sure. Right, lots of snow.
That looks like a lot of snow.
Stuck in the snow. Statements made by authorities, quote, end quote, authorities. Not certain who these authorities are. I understand the mayor actually gave a statement. Said it's about 3 feet of snow, big storm in Reno, where he owns a home near Lake Tahoe. And again, I'm thinking this is what's going on. All right.
Right.
Not certain where it's going. Well, come to find out, he was using something called a piston bully.
What's a piston bully?
Are you familiar with the piston bully?
I have no idea.
Renner was able to successfully extricate the vehicle, the car, from his driveway. Again, I'm thinking this is wife, somebody in his family.
Gotcha.
He then got out of this piston bully. This is where I'm headed. He's on this thing.
Gotcha.
He's on a snow plow. He got off of it. It's the kind you can mount, get on and off.
Gotcha.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
There's never any reports of what a piston bully is.
I have no idea.
Right. So he gets off of this thing.
And it rolls back on him, huh?
It rolls. He tried to get back into the piston bully. Where I'm at here. Okay. And it ran him over. Massive snow groomer. Tony, let me show you what a piston bully is.
Huh. I mean, they use that stuff in Alaska in the tundra. You know,
Now, when you heard this story, did you think for a minute that guy,
that's a snowplow?
this is a snow? Now, look at the size of those treads.
My goodness.
That's his piston bull. There he is. Look at him. See him? There he is, driving his piston bully. I mean, look at this.
Even
thing.
just to walk on. Now I could see
Look at
when he
this
walked
thing.
on those tracks, if he didn't put it in, did he not put it in park?
All right,
With the safety clutch?
Let's go. Again, we don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. He's
right, okay.
severely injured.
Sure,
They crushed his chest. He's in bad shape.
gotcha.
He's lucky to be alive. But you sit there and you say, all right,
What is he doing with something like that?
you've been trained on this thing?
I have no
This
idea.
is a commercial piece of equipment, right? Would you agree?
I wouldn't even, it's something like in the tundra. In Alaska, they use
You
that
need to have
stuff.
professional training.
North Pole.
Yeah, right. You need to have some training, education,
My goodness.
know how to operate. Obviously, he didn't operate it correctly or made a mistake, right? 'Cause he got out of it.
And if it rolled, he slipped on those tracks because that thing looked like 4
How
feet
can
wide.
it move if you put it in park or engage the brake? It shouldn't move. So I'm going to assume,
Oh,
for
my
the sake of this
goodness.
discussion, that he simply messed up. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Maybe his
because
foot
of
got-
that,
and look at, he must, like, how do you even mount that thing? I mean,
yeah.
oh my goodness.
What do you think the odds of death as a result of being run over by a snowblower of all things? Well, it's way down there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It is microscopic. Again, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen or can't happen.
Yeah.
People get hurt from doing a lot of things. And you oftentimes will ask, like, did you ever see the stories where the little kid will fall down like a hole, like a well?
Right,
And the well's maybe 12 inches big.
right,
And you say, how did he fall down that?
right,
I mean, and then, of course, they try to extricate him, get him out.
right,
And you probably hear about that every couple of years, a lot of
Right.
times in other countries.
right.
Remember the story about the woman that got eaten by the snake last year?
No, I don't remember
Remember that? She was in India or somewhere.
Right.
There was
Oh,
a big boa constrictor, and they couldn't find her grandma
Until they saw the big
until they
old
found the
body
hump in this ginormous snake. And you sit there and go, how does somebody get eaten by a snake? Well, they do. And, there's not a lot of good data, not a lot of good statistics on, people dying as a result of being eaten by a snake. But, spiders, you name it.
Sure, I get it.
And so I really think it's important, or at least interesting,
Right.
to kind of do a deep dive. What's going on? How did that happen? How in the world did Jeremy Renner, first of all, learn how to drive this thing?
Did he? I mean, is there a license for that? Is like a class 1, class 2 license?
I don't know.
My goodness.
But he certainly did a lot of self-inflicted harm, driving the piston bully, I guess, across his front lawn.
My
But
goodness. Well, Jeremy.
good luck. Hope you
Yes.
have a quick recovery. Next week, Tony, I'm going to be interviewing Jesse Singer.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse wrote a book, There Are No Accidents, and it's really a fascinating interview with her. She she's actually a New York Times bestseller, and I don't know if you've ever heard of her before, but
Yes, you've told me about her.
yeah, the deadly rise of injury and disaster, and what the angle she takes is this approach of who's profiting and who's really paying the price. When you think about the cost of injuries, people getting hurt, let's just put deaths aside, just injuries, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, right? People like that, they're living on fixed incomes, older folks, may not have a lot of financial resources.
Yeah.
Falls are the leading cause of accidental death, first of all, for
And
the
it's
elderly.
also their fear.
Fear of dying as a result of a fall. So a lot of old people don't leave the house because they're
Right.
afraid to fall.
Sure.
But when you kind of add up this, who's the winners, who's the losers? Well, the government's a big loser.
Right.
A lot of companies that have a large number of injuries, not just slips and falls, but other types of injuries in the workplace. It's a almost, well, to give you an idea, what do you think the cost to the United States for falls are? Slips, trips, and falls. What do you think the total cost to the U.S.?
200 million?
$200 million.
Yeah.
Hold on. Tony, you ready for this? Ready for
4
this?
trillion.
Over $150 billion.
Oh my goodness.
There are some retailers that will pay $500 million to over $1 billion.
My goodness.
For just falls. And so there are winners and there are losers. So next week, I'll be speaking with Jesse Singer.
Digging in a little bit more,
and it'll be a fascinating interview. But until then, this is Russ Kinzier and Tony B wishing you a safe and healthy day. Until then, take care.
Bye.